Hello, boys and girls. The theme of the lesson: adverbs, the ing form and the to infinitive, and the comparative form of adverbs. Learning objectives: understand independently specific information and detail in short. Simple. To take the lesson, we will learn the adverbs, learn the comparative forms of adverbs, practice the grammar rule. Okay, what is an adverb of frequency? The adverb of frequency indicates how often an action is performed, which is more often. Everything is responded by a verb. They differ in the degree of frequency with which the action they describe is performed. Such as the always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, never. Formation of adverbs in English. Adjective plus suffix ly equally adverb. For example, cheap, cheaply, slow, slowly, quick, quickly. Okay, now we will move on the main point of our today's lesson. I suggest you watch the video carefully.
Hi there, welcome back to the podcast. Harry here again, and we're going to look at here is the difference between the ing, or what's often called the gerund, the ing, and the infinitive to. Yeah, so the infinitive after a verb. Okay, and I'm taking an example of one word, stop. This is a verb to stop, means to finish something. And I'm going to give you two examples that will explain exactly what we mean by using the ing and to. Many verbs take both ing and to. For example, like, love, hate. I can say I like eating ice cream, ing, I like eating ice cream. I like to eat ice cream, the infinitive, I like to eat ice cream. I love eating ice cream, ing. I love to eat ice cream, the infinitive, okay? And some verbs only take the ing or only take the infinitive, okay? And there's no point learning them by heart. There are lists of them that you can check up on the internet, but it's just to practice when we use ing and when we use the infinitive.
Practice makes perfect.
And indeed, there are certain verbs, for example, let, which doesn't take either ing or infinitive. It takes what we call the bare infinitive. Please let me go to the supermarket. Please let me go to the cinema. Okay? So the examples I have for you now are using, as I said, the verb to stop something. So I'll give you the two sentences and then I'll explain them. So the first one, I stopped to talk to my neighbor. Okay? I stopped to talk to my neighbor. And the second sentence, I stopped talking to my neighbor. I stopped talking, ing, I stopped talking to my neighbor. Okay, some people might think they have the same meaning, but in fact, they don't. Okay, I gave you the example of I like to eat ice cream, I like eating ice cream. Here we're using ing and the infinitive, and the meaning is exactly the same, no difference. With my examples, I stopped to talk to my neighbor, I stopped talking to my neighbor, ing and infinitive, but totally different meanings, and you have to be really careful. Okay, so let's take the first one. I stopped to talk to my neighbor. I was walking along the street. I saw my neighbor working in her garden, so I stopped at the gate or the wall to talk to her because I hadn't seen her for a few days or a few weeks. It was a nice day and she's a nice person, so I stopped to talk to her, meaning I wanted to have a conversation with her. Okay, so I stopped to talk to my neighbor in her garden. However, if I said I stopped talking to my neighbor, it means I no longer talk to her, perhaps because we had an argument, perhaps we had a disagreement, something happened. We used to have a good relationship, but now I stopped talking to her for whatever the reason is. Okay, so you can see there, very, very specific difference between stopped to talk and stopped talking to. So both of them grammatically are correct. The ing, I stopped talking to, and the infinitive, I stopped to talk, but they have very different meanings. Let me give you another example. I was walking along the street and I stopped to light a cigarette. I was walking along the street and I stopped smoking. Okay? So when I stopped to light the cigarette means I stopped when I was in the middle of my walk and I lit another cigarette and enjoyed it before I got on the bus or the train or into the office. Okay? But when I say I stopped smoking, it means I finished. I either had a cigarette and I put it out, or I just stopped. Okay? So again, with the ing and the infinitive, it gives you a different meaning. So this is just how we use the ing, or as they call it, the gerund, and how we use the infinitive. There are, as I said, lists of verbs that you can access, which will show you those that only take the gerund, those that only take the infinitive, and indeed those that take neither. Yeah? But be careful when you come across some verbs that take both. You have to make sure that what you're saying is what you intended to say. I stopped to talk, or I stopped talking to. Okay? Different meanings in both of those sentences. As I said, both grammatically correct, but you just have to be very, very careful. Okay, so I hope you don't stop listening to me and that you can join me again next week. And thanks for listening this week. And I look forward to hearing you and talking to you again soon.
Children, now I suggest you do some exercises. Now I would like to know if you have learned everything from the lesson with the help of reflection. So, your homework will be to learn new words.